Hi, I am Vinod Kumar and I have completed MSc in Computer Science. Let us get into the slide. Introduction to computers. There are several topics which what is a computer? When you think what is computer, what will come to your mind? A monitor, a keyboard, mouse, a CPU. All together is called as computer. Computers are all around us, from laptop computers to the smartphones that are changing our way that we live our lives. But have you ever asked yourself, what is a computer? A computer basically uses a combination of hardware and a software. Here, we should understand what are all the hardware devices and what are all the software. A hardware is nothing but a device which has connected to a computer externally is called hardware. For example, mouse, keyboard, monitor, all will come under hardware. It is not only the external components and internal components as well will come under hardware. When you think about software, it is nothing but an instructions provided to hardware what to do. For example, a browser. A browser means either Mozilla, Internet Explorer, or Google Chrome. I hope most of the people will know what is Google. A Google is nothing but the answer which will be provided to whatever you ask. It will be asked only from a browser, that is called browsing, where that application is providing a set of instructions to an hardware what to do. I hope it is clear. There are many examples which can be taken for software. A basic example is browsing, or and applications which is used to presentation, which is a PowerPoint or a Word, everything will consider software. Okay. A computer is an electronic device that manipulates data according to the instruction provided, which means a computer is also an external electronic device. An electronic device is nothing but any inputs which is connected to an electrically. A computer is an electronic device that manipulates data according to the instruction provided, which means it is an electronic device which takes an input from a human and it provides an output according to the data provided. For example, majorly the computers will be used in hospitals as well. It will take the data of a patient. When it is taking in data from a patient, when the patient arrives next time, it is going to provide you the output whatever input which is provided already. It has an ability to store and retrieve and process the data. It's the same. It has an ability to store n number of data according to the storage which it has. Whatever data we are going to provide, it is going to store and it is going to retrieve the data when we are asking, and it is going to process the data when the data is completed, which means it is going to take the input, it is going to process the input, and it is going to store the input whatever is provided by us. It is a simple example which I am providing what it will be used in hospitals. Computers plays a role nowadays where no one can think in this world without computer. Yeah, it is used from a childhood still a old man. For example, a smartphone, it plays a major role. It also acts as a computer. It plays a major role in the human life. It is very easy to make people to understand your ideas with the help of softwares like Microsoft PowerPoint, Word, etc. For example, the presentation which I am presenting to you, I'm using a Microsoft PowerPoint. It is a very easy way to present whatever I think and whatever you think, whatever human think, everything can be easily presented to people. The computer can make your work with accuracy in production from clinical work to a scientific profession, which means it is going to provide an accurate data whichever it is provided. There will not be any malfunction or any incorrect data when you use a computerized field in your hospitals. Definition of a computer. The word computer has been derived from a word compute, which means to calculate. Each letter of computer has a meaning justifying with usefulness. A computer stands for Common Operating Machine, particularly used for technical education and research. A computer is an electronic machine which works under the control of a stored program automatically accepting and processing data to produce a designed result. As I mentioned earlier, a definition stands for a definition, which means it is a definition. It is going to provide a data or a result which is designed by us again. A computer is nothing but it is going to do whatever which we have designed from backend. As I informed earlier, it is going to use a software where software is going to provide an instruction to hardware what needs to be done. Computer has a lot of characteristics which is predefined. When it comes to characteristics of computer, it has several types which is speed, accuracy, diligence, versatility, memory, automation, no brain. Speed. A computer works with much higher speed and accuracy compared to the humans while performing mathematical calculations. Computer can process millions of instructions per second. The time taken by computers of their operations is microseconds and nanoseconds. Computers have extremely high computation speed, which you cannot ever do it when you compare to a human work with computer. A computer is going to do a very fast work which is equal to the speed of light. A computer can perform an amount of work in matters of few seconds, which a human might take entire year working around with clock. Accuracy. Computers perform calculations with 100% accuracy. Errors may occur due to data inconsistency or inaccuracy, which means a computer perform operations with accuracy of higher level in consistency. That is, every calculation is performed with same accuracy, which means there will not be any different. For example, if you are asking to give inputs of 2 plus 2, it is going to give 4 if you give 2 plus 2 n number of times. It is not going to give any error. That is called accuracy. Diligence. A computer can perform millions of tasks or calculations with the same consistency and accuracy. It does not feel any lack of concentration. Its memory also makes it superior to that of human beings. Computers are free from tiredness. It is not going to get tired whatever inputs you are going to do. That is what it means. Computers perform much better than humans for repeated kind of jobs. When it comes to versatility, versatility refers to the capability of computer to perform different kinds of work with same accuracy of efficiency. It is the same which is going to repeat again with diligence. When it comes to memory, a memory has a built-in memory called as primary memory, where it stores data. Secondary storage are also available, which is going to be a removable device such as CDs, pen drives, etc., which can be any device which is going to store it. For example, you can take memory card as well. There are so many adapters nowadays in the market which is going to reduce a human storage, which is also used in the storage data. Automatic is nothing but a computer performs all instructions provided to it automatically from the backend, whatever the data or whatever the design which is provided by a human. No brain, which means the computer does not do anything to its own. It will just do what is being told. It does not do anything on its own. That is what it is called no brain. A computer does not process any intelligence of their own. It just do whatever is being told to do so. Development of computers. Development of computers are nothing but how the computer has been developed from the history. Which means now you're saying with a physical look saying that it is called as a computer. A computer has a lot of history which has came from a huge size to a very small size now. Actually, a development of this computer which is rooted from a device called abacus. And abacus, it is nothing but it is going to be the first mechanical calculating device which was used to perform addition and subtraction easily with speed. This device was first developed by an Egyptians in 10th century. When it comes to an history, this abacus which is going to play a major role which is rooted for this computer. Charles Babbage is credited with the design of first modern computer which is called analytical engine. Initially, this was the first device which he was about to produce and to take it forward to make things very easier. He obtained government and worked on a different engine. That time, a British government which was supporting Charles Babbage. The British government withdrew funding in 1842 and he got stuck there itself. And This Charles Babbage, which he was struck completely to develop with a device with analytical engine. Then Charles Babbage was himself using his own money with rest of his life working to this analytical engine to complete it, but it was never done. In 1930, an American scientist who built this mechanically operated device called analog computer. That word derived from analytical engine to an analog computer. Then there is a person called John Atansoff who constructed this first semi-electronic digital computing device in 1939. Then future one by one people started moving forward with that analog electronic device to an analog computer. Then now it is with semi-electronic digital computing. Then ENIAC, ENIAC, which is called as Electronic Numerical Integrator and a calculator, is the first electronic digital computer which was introduced among these modern computers. UNIVAC was introduced after this. UNIAC, which is called as Universal Automatic Computer, became the first computer to hand both numeric and alphabetic data with equal facility in 1951. And this was the first available computer to move forward with a name called computer, which has derived and which is left with all previous device, and it was completely told as computer from 1951. When you talk about computers, and computers has several history which we have covered earlier, a simple way it has a lot of generations with a computer which means it has lot of versions in it. For example, it has first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, and at last fifth generation, which is at present. A first generation which has several years, which is not accurate among, it has several couple of years which may differ from each categories, which is 1946 to 1958 is first generation, and 59 to 64 is second generation, 65 to 70 will come under third generation, and fourth generation is 71 to 2010. And now from 2010 to still present it is called as a fifth generation of computers, which is the latest versions which is going to cover. First generation. This first generation of computer is nothing but generations which within considers the roughly period of time with 48 to 1958. During this period, this first generations of computer which has been covered with development of using this vacuum tube or thermionic value machine. The inputs of this system was based on the punch cards and the paper tape. However, it is going to provide an output with a displayed printout. The first generation computers worked on a binary coded concept, which means it is going to take the signals of zeros and ones. Zeros and ones is called as a binary system. These first generations of computers were very huge, slow, expensive, and often undependable. This is good. There are a lot of advantages as well as disadvantages for this first generations of computer. When it comes to advantage, let me specify with a couple of things, which is this vacuum tubes could take a weak signal, very weak signal, stronger, or we need to amplify it. Vacuum tubes could also stop and start the flow of electricity instantly. Disadvantage means it is not portable, it is very big and it is very huge, it is unreliable, limited uses for commercial purposes. These may come under disadvantages, and the most disadvantage of this first generations of computer is it is very expensive with slow in working. This was the initial stage where this computers was defined, and it was introduced, it was used between 1946 to 1958. Second generations of computer. This comes roughly with the period of 1959 to 1964. So this is a post first generation and now it is second generation between the period of 59 to 64. This generations of computers was basically developed by using a transistor technology. A technology is called transistor. In comparison to the first generation, the size of the second generation was pretty small. In comparison to the computers of first generations, the computing time taken by a computer of a second generation was very lesser. For example, there were obviously difference between this transistor and a vacuum tube. A transistor is pretty faster, more reliable, smaller and much cheaper when you compare to the vacuum tube. Advantage and disadvantages of this second generations of computers are this advantage which is very small compared to first generations and it is less heat or no heat generations when compared to the first generation. Disadvantage will be it was very difficult to use these for commercial productions as we informed earlier in first generation. It follows the same. Frequent maintenance and air conditions was required for the second generation. It maintenance is more and more required for the second generations of computer. Third generation, which followed by second generation. Roughly it is between the period of 1965 to 1970. Third generation computers were developed by using a technology called integrated circuit, which is IC. It will be a very small chip. It looks like a memory card earlier, and it was the device which was, I mean, a technology. It was used to develop this third generations of computer. In comparison to the second generation, the size of this computer will be smaller than the second generation. The computers of second generation's computer time has been taken by the computers of third generations was very less. The third generation computers consumed less power, also generated less heat. It does not get any heat. In second generations, there will be a less amount of heat when compared to first generation. Now in third generations, there will not be any heat at all. And the maintenance cost of this computer of the third generation was also lesser than the second generations. And this size of this second generations when I mean third generations which is very lesser than a second generation. When you look at this picture, you can easily compare. It looks like an compact view, which is an compact monitor which we are using at present. They were using not GUI mode. It was a command mode earlier, which was used with this integrated circuit. Fourth generations of computer. The period comes under 1972 to 2010 roughly, which was considered earlier. Fourth generations of computers were developed by using a microprocessor technology which is very small compared to IC, which is integrated circuit. By coming to the fourth generation, computers have become very small size which is become a portable which can be transferred from one place to other place. The machine of this fourth generation started generating very low amount of heat and power consumption. It is much faster and accuracy which is become more reliable for people. The production cost reduced to very low in comparisons of the previous generations because it is portable. It became available for the common people as well. Like for example, which I told in many places these computers are playing nowadays because it is very compact and which is very um, smaller in size and it is portable so that it is used in every place of this market. So in fourth generation itself, they started using this into a public market where everyone can be usable, which is more reliable in people. The advantages will be because of this smaller size, it is very easy to portable. It was used for general purposes and commercial purposes, wherein which earlier it was not used. In disadvantages, uh, manufacturing of this IC, which is required high complicated technologies, which is microprocessor. Fifth generations of computer, which is nothing but a present generations from 2010. By this time, the computer generation was being categorized on the basis of an hardware only, which is a hardware device which contains a more flexibility with speed, consumption, storage, all compared together is called as an hardware processor, which is based on this hardware only, which is fifth generation, so more inclusion of software. The computers of fifth generation had high capability and large memory capacity, which is not portable in earlier stages, but now it is portable with storage. But the storage with as floppy, earlier they used to use a memory called floppy where it contains KB files. Now it has been a very huge size capacities of transferring files, storage, everything is portable with this fifth generations. Working with the computer of this generation was fast and multiple tasks could be performed simultaneously. It doesn't mean that when you do some work, you're going to get stuck with only that work. It is going to give you many options to do this multitask, where in which you can do other tasks when you're doing with one task. It is going, a computer is going to give more flexibility to do multitask performed simultaneously. Some of the popular advanced technology of this fifth generation includes artificial intelligence parallel to the processing, which is a processor is an feature where it is going to give you, according to the conceptions which has been taken by hardware and software, this processor plays a major role to give you the speed and compatibility of the applications which you are going to use. That comes with fifth generation. Basic organizations of computer is nothing but which is input unit, storage unit, output unit, as you see, which is going to take input unit, which is going to store, and it is going to provide you the output unit. As in the flowchart, as you can see, which has a control unit and an arithmetic logical unit, which is going to be as called as CPU, where you are going to see next to your monitor there is some box called as CPU, that is nothing but central processing unit. In simple world, a computer which is going to take an input from user and storing it in a memory, and it is going to provide output to user. This is the basic organizations of computer which is showed in the flowchart in a simple way to understand. It is going to take an input, store the input which is provided by you, and it is going to show the output which is required and designed backend by you again. Let me explain you brief in detail. Input. It accepts instructions and data from outside world. It converts these instructions and data into a computer acceptable form, which is zeros and ones, which is binaries, where this coding has been happened to come back in to understand in computer language. It supplies the converted instructions and data to the computer system for further processing, which is going to provide you the output, which is next part. The output unit, it accepts the results produced by the computer, which are in code form and hence contains the easily understand by us, which is a computer which is going to use several codes in backend, which is going to utilize whatever inputs provided by you, but it is not going to provide you the same language where you are not going to understand. So it is going to convert those codes into a result which is human acceptable, which is a read form. It supplies the converted results outside world to understand in a human language from a computerized language. Storage unit. Storage unit is nothing but when the term comes storage, it is called as a memory. A data and the instructions required for processing, which is called a storage, which is a data which is needed to take the input, to store the input, to manipulate the input, and to provide the output. That is a major part which plays a role in a system is called storage unit. Arithmetic and logical unit is a simple word, it is called as ALU. Arithmetic and logical unit of a computer system is where an actual exception of an instructions taken place during the processing of operation. Operation is nothing but whatever we are going to do an input, it is going to do some operations behind and it is going to share that output which is accepted. Where this ALU and this control unit is compared together is called as a central processing unit. This control unit, which is a unit which manages and coordinates these operations of all the components which is inside the hardware as well as the software unit, and it is going to provide an output within the CPU, which is central processing unit. It is a brain which acts as a computer, means it is like a human has a brain. The same way, this CPU is a brain for a computer system where it is going to process something, a data to an output system to understand by a human. Uses of computer. As I said earlier, this computer is plays a major role in this human world where this computer is going to take place in every part of our life. Computer helps in education, getting information through internet, which is, for example, education in the sense where this training, presentations, all such informations to educate people, where in schools and colleges, everywhere this computer plays a major role to store the data, to present, to accept, to detail to people, everywhere in education it is going to use. Getting information through internet is nothing but browsing. A browsing plays a major role between people now to understand what is what. For example, when you get some doubt, when you do browse, you are going to get in detail from internet where what information is needed exactly for what question. Animation is nothing but, for example, games where this computer is going to use their memories and processor with hardware and software to animate and design in a view called 2D or 3D, where it is going to animate itself with imagination is called animation. Defense services are nothing but, it is going to service with a defined system with antivirus. For example, any system which has virus defined by other people to hack your informations which is in corporate, where they are going to this use this defense systems where this services is going to protect your data to not to accept or hack by other people with not authentication. Controlling satellites from a computer can be done from here. A satellite itself is a new device where it is going to monitor everything from outside of world and going to take a screenshot of everything to provide you, where this computer is the only way it is going to display you what is happening outside of world through satellites. Banking and commerce, where in banking as well computers are used, medical field it is used, post office, railway station, airport, everywhere this computer is used. Where this uses of computer which plays a major role, where I have simplified and provided you in a simple way, where these are the major categories where people use most places of with computerized. Advantages of computer. The computer helps to work in a fast and accurate way. In the beginning, which I told, it is not going to give any duplicate values where or incorrect values. It is going to do its repeated work with an accurate answer which is needed. Computer is reliable, which is useful to people. It is very easy. Computer will save time of a human life, where human is going to do an hours and hours or years together to get an accurate value, where computer is going to save your time and provide you to the value within minutes or fractions of seconds. Computer helps in doing a repetitive work where it is going to loop yourself the value with repeated answers with accurate information it is going to provide. Ideas are understood quickly and easily through the presentations, where which, as I told, this presentation is an example where it is going to give you a quick way to make people to easily understand. Images can be transferred to computers with the help of scanner or a digital camera. I hope you people are aware of what is camera, but a scanner plays a major role to convert a hardware structure which you have to a digitalized structure to present to people to make understand viewable. Computers are used in a voice recognition system where recognition is nothing but the value where people going to use and people going to provide informations with voice. For example, when you see a presentation, instead of understanding yourself, when I give a voice to recognize the system, and it is going to accept the value of that frequency which is adjusted inside with applications with several features in it, where it is going to accept the voice of a human, it is going to convert it into a computer language in code to understand by human, it is going to provide that input, and it is going to take the input and it is going to provide you the output of that voice recognition system, which is the latest feature where it is used not only in computer, among all smartphones in the world.